Escape the Undertaker was an interactive movie. It's on Netflix. You can still watch it. It takes about a half hour to 45 minutes to watch it, which is good because, the difference between an interactive movie and a real movie, that gimmick is, it kind of sucks your energy out a little bit more than just sitting back and watching a movie. This I especially love because it was, based on a wrestling property. You got the Undertaker, you got the New Day, and the New Day is investigating this house, and they will get into a situation where they'll be like, hey, this scary haunted house, it's the Undertaker's house. Do you walk to the left? Do you open the coffin? And if you do the wrong thing, you can kill these guys. They will die. And if you do the right thing, you can get them to the end. Here is another interactive movie. Man, I remember when this came out, you and your friends would choose the action. It was from like one of the makers of Back to the Future, which is like my favorite movie ever. I really wanted to see this. Christopher Lloyd is in it. There's a handful of other actors. I remember the trailer being very weird. They were trying to sell you on the idea, but also trying to showcase the actors and that it was a movie. It didn't play well, but it did play in Philadelphia. And I remember thinking, man, Philadelphia is not that far. I should go. And I didn't. And I regret it because all I kept hearing was, oh, well, I heard it's not that great. I saw a thing on the news. And you know what? It probably wasn't. But, I wish I had been there. Wish I'd been there to experience it. This movie, you would go see it in a theater. It never came out on home video. They have put some clips online. But again, interactive. You had a remote. They had to run this whole system with wires and everything. It was ahead of its time. And then now that we're able to do this, I think people aren't that interested in it. But that's interactive stuff. Again, Sega CD did a bunch of these. All right, we're going from that kind of interaction to a completely different one. It's my furry red friend. There's Elmo in Grouchland with Kevin Clash. Back then, he was the voice of Elmo. Man, this is quite a movie. The reason I have this on the list, if you've seen this movie, if you're a kid that saw this film, when they first screened this movie, they found it was a little too intense for kids. They added Ernie and Bert as the audience. So Ernie and Bert are watching the movie and then they go, oh my God, Bert, I'm scared. This is scary. And Bert's like, nah, come on, Ernie. Don't be a wimp. This is great. I don't think that's exact words, but it's an interactive element. It's in this movie. That is a movie gimmick. Oh man. This was quite a gimmick. I remember when this came out. First of all, this movie is for a gimmick movie, this is such a watchable, wonderful movie. It's great. Some great performances. I think Madeline Kahn. You also have Christopher Lloyd from Back to the Future. Oh man, one of the Go-Go's shows up just for a second. I love this movie. Tim Curry is just phenomenal in this movie. Just a great movie based on a board game. So there's that gimmick. And in the game, you would have to open the thing to see, was it Colonel Mustard with the lead pipe in the study, or was it, Mrs. White or Mrs. Peacock in the den with the lead pipe or the rope or the shoe or the little dog. Maybe that's Monopoly. Anyway, when you played Clue, there could always be different endings. So when they played this in theaters, whatever theater you went to could have a different ending. So there were like 4 endings, and the problem was people didn't know which one they were going to see, and they had to sit through the whole movie to find out. So the theaters then advertised, oh, we've got ending number 1 or ending number 2, and it's a great movie. I think there were some people that wanted to see it more than once and probably did, but most audiences for any movie, even if they love it, don't want to see it again. At least not during its theatrical run. So this gimmick didn't really work. On home video, they just put all the endings. They kind of stacked them up, and they're like, it could have been this way. It could have been this way, which may have been the best way to show it anyway. It's the way I'm totally used to it now. But when they put this on DVD, they brought the gimmick back so you could, put it on where it would automatically randomly choose an ending for you. And, the endings are different. You never know what's going to happen. All right. Duo Vision. This was a new gimmick. You didn't need glasses. The movie was Wicked Wicked, and this is a pretty cool thing. What they did was they took the screen. So if you figure your CinemaScope screen, they split it in half, and it was almost like, and it's the kind of thing we see a lot with vlogging and stuff. But just picture a camera pointed this way, right, and then the other camera pointed this way, right, and now they just put them like this, and so they're filming both sides. So you're seeing the killer, and you're seeing it from the killer's perspective. So you're seeing what he sees, but you're also seeing the people coming towards him. And the gimmick is pretty good. It's pretty unsettling and a lot of fun. I enjoy this, and it's a pretty good movie if you ever dig it up. All right, here's another old time movie with a gimmick. Robert Montgomery, The Lady in the Lake. If you've ever seen the movie Doom, which was based on the first-person shooter game, that has nothing to do with this. But I'm telling a story, and it's going to lead back to this. I know I do this all the time. Anyway, if you've seen the movie Doom, there's a part towards the end where The Rock goes in first person, and we see everything first person, just like the first person shooter. And it was, some people were like, whoa, the movie went first person, just like a first person shooter. But this had already been done with Lady in the Lake. The entire movie is first person. So you've got Robert Montgomery. That's why it says you and Robert Montgomery are going to solve a murder. You see everything from his perspective. He's a famous actor, and you can only see him in the movie a couple times when he looks in a mirror, because the rest of the time you're not actually looking at him, you're just hearing his voice. But you find all the clues and you solve everything. It wasn't suitable for general exhibition. No, just adults should go see this. Fun movie though. If you got time, it's the most amazing since the talkies began. It's a good one to put on. All right. Here's another fun one. 13 Ghosts. They remade this at one point, but the original one came with a ghost viewer. And this was William Castle did all these gimmicks, and they parodied him in the movie Matinee, which is great, which you should totally see. But this was a ghost viewer, so when the ghost came on the screen, if you put the one side up, you could see the ghost. This was using the same technology as 3D, just using it in a different way. But if you put it the other way, you couldn't see the ghost because the color would match and the ghost would disappear. Now, nobody that went to see this ever wanted to not see the ghost. They would have just covered their eyes. But the viewer did work correctly. Obviously, everybody wanted to see the ghost. This was another William Castle one, The Tingler. They actually put like devices in the seat so the seat would vibrate when you were sitting on it. Polyester. This was John Waters' film. I've never seen this. This had Divine in it. I saw a little too much John Waters' film. Like his newer films, I really enjoyed, and I went back and tried to watch some of the older ones, and not for me. And I'm guessing that this one probably wouldn't either. But you got a scratch and sniff card with this. That's a lot of fun. This is one I remember very well when this came out. The $1 Million Mystery. You could win $1 million if you watch this movie and you followed the clues. It was kind of hard. It was in the bridge of the Statue of Liberty's nose. $1 million was hidden, but it really wasn't hidden there. They said that they were very clear in the marketing of this. The movie will tell you the clues to find, and it's true, the movie is about these people looking for, I think, $5 million that's been split up, and at the end they're like, well, there's one still out there. I hope somebody paid attention and followed the clues from the movie with a Glad trash bag as a poster. Glad sponsored this. They put up the money, but man, to be like, hey, we're going to also put a bag of trash on your movie poster. A lot of people didn't like this movie. I love this movie. I think it's very good. There is an alternate version of the ending because they had a version for like when the movie was new and the contest hadn't been solved, and then they shot a different version that I think was used on home video and was also used in theaters after the million was found. It was in the bridge of the Statue of Liberty's nose. They were like, hey, it's not really there, so if you figure it out, don't climb up to the Statue of Liberty's nose for the $1 million. You just call us and tell us, and we'll give it to you. And that was the $1 Million Mystery. Some good stuff in this. I really recommend this. Eddie Deazen's in this movie. This is like, it's a mad, mad, mad world. That's a lot of fun. I do like any movie with a bag of trash on the cover. All right, Cinerama. Man, This was a technique where you had 3 projected images on 3 different giant screens to make a very giant thing. How the West Was Won was shot in this. Cinerama was like a travelogue. It showed you just like this. It showed you going on a roller coaster. It was to kind of do something like 3D but different. And so this one was great. I saw this. I've told this story before. I'll try to keep it brief. I sat next to Sam Jackson when I saw this movie. I saw this at the Cinerama Dome in Hollywood, and Sam Jackson was there. He was there with either his wife or sister or somebody, but a woman and 2 kids, and they all sat there until the intermission. And the reason why I knew that this was somebody important was the kids and the woman were seated. The movie started, and 2 ushers walk over and bring him to the seat. And so I look over, and there's me, an empty seat, and then there's the 2 kids, and then there's the mom, and then there's Sam Jackson. And so he was a bit far away. And then before intermission, because this movie had an intermission, they came and got Sam Jackson and took him away. And so he wasn't there for the intermission. And then the family, they all left after the lights went up. And so then the movie starts back, and Sam Jackson's family's not with him. Now, I don't know where they went. My guess is this was a really old, weird movie. The kids were kind of getting like a little rustly, and so the mom, again, I don't know if it's his wife or I don't know because I didn't get a good look at her. But it could have been, I was thinking it could have been like his sister and his niece and nephew. I don't know. But anyway, the kids and the woman, they leave. Sam Jackson comes back, and rather than sit all the way at the end, he goes over and like he looks and then comes and sits right next to me. I don't know why this is. I guess Sam Jackson is not a guy that likes to sit by himself in the movie theater, but he sits right next to me. And there's a scene in this movie, again, it's travelogue, just showing you weird stuff. And so they have a bunch of women at like SeaWorld, and they're on water skis, and they're doing the pyramid. And they're starting to fall, and they're like, whoa. Now, Sam Jackson thinks this is hysterical, and he's laughing and laughing and laughing, and every time he laughs, he would like smack my knee, and so I'd be like, because not like hard, he was just like, this is my new buddy, my new best friend, and we're watching this movie, and because it was kind of like, you laugh, and I was like, well, if Sam Jackson wants me to laugh, I'm laughing, because I didn't think it was as funny as him, but he thought it was very funny, so I laughed along with Sam Jackson. They came and got him for the end of the movie. I never saw him again. Didn't get to get a picture with him or anything, but Sam Jackson slapped my knee at least once, not hard, but enough that I was like, man, I'm friends with Sam Jackson. So very cool moment. Yeah, let's see what's next. Spy Kids 3D. So today there's a lot of 3D movies. I wanted to end with this one because this was like the rebirth of 3D before they went to the new modern glasses. They brought back the old time blue and red, and Spy Kids 3D did it. I remember this movie had a lot of, ooh, we should take these glasses off. Whoa, doesn't everything look weird now that we took our glasses off? IMAX had tried to do the 3D for a while, and it was hard to get audiences used to it. And today, it's like if you go see a kids movie and it's not in 3D, the kids are like, why aren't we paying an extra $7? You don't have to pay anything for this, though, so I'm glad you watched. That happened. All right, I'll see you next time. Click the box.